Kodiosh's sister, and we're reading Saturnastra Monkey King. This is Chapter 4, Part 2. Monkey King started studying what exterior stimuli created that bizarre reaction. He noticed that when he left the ampule out in the sun, it emitted a strong smell. When it was in the shade, it was unresponsive. And he was not able to make more observations because the ship had finally arrived in Sokol. The city was a royal mess. It looked as if it had suffered from an airstrike. The forts were in the middle of rebuilding. The west wing of the castle was completely smashed. The surrounding fishy hamlets were in disarray. However, it did not seem like anyone had died because of the tsunami. After docking, King was greenly greeted by a man dressed in white tatters. Like terrible dresses. Coughing, he said, "You came a little too late." "What happened?" asked Monkey King. "Tell me, what is the situation of the city?" "Before we go, you must swear not to abandon the city till the enemy has been defeated. Swear by whatever God you believe," insisted the old man, not letting Monkey King step foot into their docks. Pushing him aside, King said, "Move out of the way, old man. The pay is more than generous, and we're not the sort of folk to leave after getting paid." "Forgive my distrust, but you must understand the situation, and why I must bind your word to the will of any higher power," insisted the old prophet, trailing behind Monkey King, and his troops followed along their king as they made their way towards the castle. "I am already somewhat familiar with your situation. You are getting attacked by people using mysterious iron ships," said Monkey King. "Yes, but they have the ability to go underwater as well, and this makes it impossible to orchestrate traditional marine battles. And they are only vulnerable when they surface to fire upon our sacred city," said the prophet. "It is unfortunate that your name was devastated," said King Harry in his stride. He chuckled as he noticed that the old man was having a hard time keeping up with his youthful steps. Stopping, he said, "We can talk in the castle." "I can't. They won't let me inside. Not after what I did," said the old man. "What did you do?" asked Monkey King, getting curious. The old man was reluctant at first, and to get him to speak, he added, "Either you tell me or I will ask the ruler. It is your choice." In the end, the old man chose to remain silent, his hands trembling from the weight of his guilt. The old man started his dogged march towards the docks, and Patty noticed that some of the locals started to throw rocks at the old man. Salud.
Sorry, everyone.
Sneeze. He sneezed. Feeling sorry for the old man, she made an effort to shield him, and a pitiful effort indeed, because she was half the size of the stoic old man. And when a rock did strike her, one of the Naga soldiers made a motion to go at the mob of people, and they fled in panic at the sight of so strange, bizarre-looking soldier. With the mob departed, Patty took out a handkerchief, and she made a motion to clean the face of the old man. The old man shook his head sadly, and he patted Patty's head before walking away. King watched this entire scene with a bit of bitter amusement, and he smelled the sea breeze and took in a deep breath, and the albatrosses started squawking, and the hollers that were in the dust started issuing their warning calls. A strange aurora started appearing over the sky, and stray shots of pressurized steam started to smash against an invisible barrier. King started howling as his army took position, and instead of getting ready for a fight, the army moved to certain areas of the city that were still more or less in one piece. And the shield was soon punctured in several spots, and about 5 or 6 newly rebuilt houses were soon in tatters once again. And the locals were screaming and running in a panic, and only the Naga stoically watched the entire attack. The attack lasted an hour, and from time to time King issued new orders to the Nagas to change position, and in doing so they avoided getting shot directly by the strange gushing pressurized water. After waiting another hour, the Nagas felt safe enough to continue towards the castle. King was starting to realize that this first mercenary mission was more trouble than it was worth. And the castle of Sokol was a pale azure structure, blue, on top of a crimson mound made of layers of sandstone and granite. And the interior of the mound and most of the island was hollowed out, filled with caves, and for extra support, the caves beneath the castle had structured beams. And and the island was geologically stable, and this region only saw an earthquake once every 1 million years or so. So it was hard for there to be anything too close to a tsunami. And each time the iron ships were sighted, the people of Soko would go to the underground caves to ride out the storm. And they have been living like this for the last 3 years or so, and effort have been made to contact for help. However, rumors of the strange nature of the fall caused all of the mercenary groups to unanimously leave Soko to this terrible fate. The interior of the castle had a floor made of redstone, while the walls were made of blue marble, and it was an interesting contrast to say the least, and the grooves of the roof and the decoration mimicked the earthen floor of the waves. And instead of tapestry, this castle preferred the see-through curtains, and the castle had a special stained glass that could be shifted in order to allow the sea breeze to enter. And the island had a natural water barrier and docking that proved quite useful even with a map, that proved quite difficult to maneuver even with a map. And for an outsider like king, it seemed like too much trouble to try to take Sokol. Sitting on a cushioned throne was the tired 15-year-old ruler named Elag, and he had taken power at the age of 6 when his father had died after leading an unsuccessful campaign against Verageddon. And before even docking, his neighbor had been crushed by pirates, and a precocious child, Elag took matters into his own hands in order to manage his empire. After taking power from the region, his region had been the prophet king had seen wandering the streets, and they have become regionalized, focusing just on the affairs of their island, and leaving the mainland for the feudalist to fight over. And part of his foreign policy included zero tolerance for piracy, and it was just a gist of the information King had acquired from the local albatrosses. And the major pirate attacks had started after Lord Elag had pacified one of the neighboring island nations that were safe havens for pirates. And for Lord Elag and his teachers, safe havens were no different than pirate dens. And after pacifying the island, the iron boats had started appearing in the shores of Sokol. And there were no demands nor stolen goods. The attackers were only there to utterly annihilate every living creature inside the city of Sokol. So like they're not bad, they just wanna kill them. Lord Ayla started saying, "Welcome," when he had a coughing fit, and a nearby handman came and put another blanket over him. In a noise Lord Ayla removed it and he said, "It's hard enough as is without your help, and be gone and speaking with guests, and thank you for coming to our aid, though I must admit that I may be skeptical as to what you can do for me. Well, we got past that tsunami of yours that your prophet created, and we have already seen the Cornelis Debre type ships," said King. "Ah, yes, the tsunami. You mean the large tidal wave. How far did it make it?" asked Lord Ella, looking concerned. "It made it a couple of kilometers inland, and even with its artificially limited range, it killed about 10,000 humanoid species and injured 5 times as many. This is not counting the number of people who lost their homes and their crops. They will starve to death because of that little desperate son of yours," said King, doing the math. So they were getting attacked by a weird shit, so then like the prophet did like a huge magic, but then the spell also continued, and it stalled those weird shits that were attacking them, but it also affected a bunch of neighboring cities and little villages that had nothing to do with anything. That all they saw was like a huge tsunami coming their way. He then said in the native tongue of the Naga slowly, "I want you to leave only 30 of us here, and the rest of you should go back and help those poor souls, and I am going to squeeze this kid for all the money he's worth." Lord Ella looked nervous towards King, and he frowned when he noticed that most of the army leaving. And smiling, King said, "Don't put on that face. 30 of us are going to be more than enough to get rid of those pesky enemy ships that you are dealing with, and we will do the job right and without any collateral damage. And all these logs have innocents killed due to friendly fires." Lord Ayla rose from his seat and then touched the ends of King's golden rose, and praying to him he said, "You are our only hope. Please help us. This is no life worth living." "Well, we will help you, but under one condition," said King, looking sternly. "Tell us, and I will offer whatever is left of our treasury," said Lord Ayla. "For everyone 5 times the salary, and you will pay the same to the people who have gone to clean up your mess. And before you start arguing, know that our spies informed that your buildings may be damaged, but your wealth remains intact. Second, I want you to collect and bring whatever spells and holy books you have on the island for us to copy. And thirdly, find us a decent lodging in this place where we won't have the roof falling over our heads, said King. Lord Ela opened his mouth to protest, but then he said, the money will be used, but not before you defeat my enemies. Sorry, little man, but we do things a little different, and we do not work pro bono. And if you do not have our first installment now, we will start by taking your share and your jewelry in your bed, said King. And after saying this, one of the island mages at the center of the gorilla threw the Lord from his chair, and he took the throne with him. And with those first impressions, King settled for his stay in Sokol. And during the first few days, King spent analyzing the observations made by the albatrosses, and the ships always came at noon, and their attacks recklessly continued to nightfall. And during especially warm nights, they would make an additional visit, though most of the time they were only active at noon. And King remembered the Ampio and how he was activated when exposed to warm temperatures. And to test out his theory, he placed his staff on the shore, and he made the temperature lower and around the water surrounding the island. And this time the ships were forced to shoot from further away, and only the fishing hamlets were damaged during this attack. There were only 3 ships remaining. So these ships are powerful, but they only function when the waters are warm enough. So he was able to push them further back by making the waters around the city much colder. So then they were forced to shoot from further away.
Oh, so they work with steam?
Yeah. Well, not steam, just the weird magic power ships. Remember that the weird ampios, they were the things that were powering the ships, and they were based on temperature. But yeah, the power requires heat in order to do its thing.
Gotcha.
During those days, he received the initial reports from the grave, and apparently the crystal was made of quartz, and the process behind making it clear and see-through like glass was interesting in and of itself. There was also the matter of analyzing what was inside the ampule. They needed to open it to get scientific samples of the liquids, however they were reluctant to do so out of fear of killing whatever was inside. And for the time being, they were waiting for special permission to utilize their technology. And while King waited for more information, he pondered much on why there were only 3 ships left. And before choosing to head out, King went to speak to the old prophet, and sitting beside him, King said, "Hey, Mr. Prophet, why do you keep calling me a prophet? I am the high priest of Eura. And what do you want, little monkey? And I hear that in less than a day you have already dethroned our Lord. Impressive achievement to do so without spilling a drop of blood," said the prophet, chuckling. "I call you prophet because you are an above-average priest. No run-of-the-mill high priest who could have been able to call upon such devastation. Though for future reference, be careful what you wish for." And he added, "And here on official business, and I did not come here to mock you. And I heard from the city fool that you are the regent." "Former regent," corrected the prophet. "Ah, yes. I know your last stunt caused you to lose all of your credibility and about half your denizens," said King. And he continued, "And I want to know about the island your foes raided before the ships appeared. Just who the hell did you anger?" "No one. It was a standard pacification with the arrest, the deportation, the inquest, and he started saying when King interrupted him. "The tortures," said King grimly. "What of it? Everyone does this, and I bet you have your own dungeon where you keep your mischievous apes as well," said the prophet nonchalantly. King was about to lecture him, but instead he said more to himself, "A leper cannot change his spots. Now my question, what did you find out about them?" The prophet gave King a detailed briefing, and he also told him where to find the legal documents pertaining to this case in the library, and after reading through it, King had a better grasp of the situation. As was the habit of the day, the prophet and the Lord had worked on the flimsy rumors. Time, bro?
9 minutes.
The whole safe haven of Paris was a bit of an exaggeration, and the locals were isolated, and they never cared much about the dealings with the outside world. And the pirates and other groups would come with them for their unique wares, and after dealing with them for years, the local pirate groups knew better than to mess with them. And they didn't want a safe haven for pirates, but they would trade with them sometimes. But they didn't know they were pirates because they were extremely isolated, you know? It's like, what do we know or care about the outside world? And while looking through the archives, King discovered an interesting document. Apparently, the great-great-grandfather of Lord Ayla had established an integration pact with the islanders, and the pact granted these islanders complete autonomy. And by going there to pacify them, the Lord had broken the pact with them. And King was having second thoughts about killing them, and he wondered if a peaceful solution could be ensured. And before carrying out his plans, he wanted to check on the disposition of the islander. And to do so, he had to dabble in a bit of necromancy. Good necromancy could only be performed during certain days of the week, and during specific hours and in certain places. And the best place to make contact with the spirit was the audience hall. And the wind entered there from the east to west and tunneled below towards the crossroom. And necromancy and any sort of dark magic was a novelty for Lord Aylar, and his court mages insisted on watching the ceremony. And together with the decoy mages, King engaged in elaborate dance and singing, all the while weaving potions of spells to call upon the ungrateful dead. And in a table in the the ungrateful. And in a table in the middle of the audience was one of the bloated corpses savaged by the island mages. And the corpse was wrapped like a mummy full of preserves, and one juicy hand was exposed and was made to hold the tip of an acanthus leaf, and with the incense at the corners of the room, the corpse was surrounded by a thin mist, blue smoke that emanated from the incense, and an acrid scent of vinegar filled the nostrils of the prince, and the others assembled, making them cough. And this little diversion provided the deacon mages provided the king with a final house and necessary for calling the spirit. And tapping the lower tip of the staff, an echo spread throughout the cave, and a low humming sound shook the very foundation, but the structure itself did not move. And the wind died, and with it there followed an eerie silence, and the silence was not part of the spell, nor did it mean that death was approaching. And after letting his vehicles finish passing by, King concluded his spell. And the body trembled and gargled, and slowly it sat up, and the hollow mouth spilled out putrid blood and seawater. And speaking in a hoarse voice, the corpse said, "Nah, and tapping the corpse's forehead with his staff, the corpse settled back down again and closed his eyes. And in a deep, relaxed slumber, a shade rose and pointed at the Lord. And before allowing him to say more, King struck the spirit with his staff, and the spirit started to grow frenzied, and thus King was forced to strike him with his staff once more, to quiet him down. And he tried the same thing with 5 other corpses, but even in death the spirits were relentless in their desire for destruction. It was no longer a desire for revenge which drove them. And after putting away the corpses, the court mage Lydia commented, "Well, that was pointless. Not as pointless as you might think. I at least know where I stand with the invaders, and they won't attack you. Everyone in this island are dead. And what happens beyond that is no longer their concern," said King sadly. So, like, peace is not an option. They don't want peace. "I feel that my lord and the regent may have created monsters," said Lydia sadly. "Frankly, my people frown upon all sorts of torture, and it's always a lot easier and more efficient to have a robust intelligence network. And when I say intelligence, I mean intelligence, and people often make a mistake intelligence gathering with whistleblowing, blackmail, bribes, and collecting idle gossip. And knowing where to look is more important than leaving no stone unturned," said King. "Pray do tell, just how will we go about forming this little group?" asked Lydia sarcastically. "I don't know. I was not put in this world to make your life easier," said King, leaving the castle with his mages. And as he walked out, he noticed the Gargantua sleeping on the roof of the castle. Time, bro?
5 minutes.
The cold breeze was especially strong out there, which contrasted greatly with the hot noon sun. And accompanying her was the flock of albatrosses, and so were perched on her, as she slept while she rested her head on her knees. And yawning, King felt like it was about time to hit the hay as well, and he resolved to visit the mysterious island tonight. And when night fell, King left with Patty, and Garganta had stayed behind to monitor whatever changes happened in his absence. And it took about 7 hours to reach the island by a small sailboat, and the island was far closer than the prophet had bothered to admit, and he had also lied about its true location. And King had left the boat with Patty, and holding her side, she shivered while walking through the deserted roads. And the houses looked abandoned, and so had pieces missing, as if the ply would have been purposely removed from them. And there were signs of overgrown farmlands, and other late signs of habitation. And the people of the mysterious boat were not there. And while rummaging through the shop, Patty said, "I found some quartz and a bizarre-looking something." And King looked at the outer contraption from top to bottom. A strange heat still lingered from the now dead furnace, And now that he reached into his pocket and he drew a shark, and he swiftly drew a pentagram on the furnace, and after drawing a circle around the home with his shark and a stick, he tapped the ground and then started screeching with Patty, and the seagulls and other nearby birds echoed the chant. And a nearby honeywell heard the bizarre calls and chose to echo them for reasons he could not understand. And when the message finally reached the ears of the Iron Mages, the house was spirited away. And King's hair stood on it, and Patty started growing fidgety as well, and together they ran towards the boat and returned to the island of Soko. And the following morning, only one of the boats was attacking the city, and it seemed to King that his nightly excursion had made his opponent paranoid. Time, bro?
3 minutes.
The following week, King and his 30 men spent in skirmishes, in which the Siliceo was cut very quickly to the submarine-like ships as they approached, and they would strike with spears who were screeching and howling at them. And one time, the captain of the iron ships came outside to see the Nagas in person to laugh at them, and mocking, he said, "Is this the best that Soko can offer?" "You're going down, human," screeched Monkey King. "Why don't you use your magic or summon our demon, little wizard?" said the captain. "Fine, your wish is my command," said King, giving a low bow, and tapping on the floor, one of the other men just summoned a bloated, drowned corpse, and he landed before the captain. Recognizing the corpse, the captain yelled, "You are going to pay for this, you little imps." And following, the ship sank below the waters, and the rumbling that followed broke King's sailboat, and he was alone in the water with the water just shooting in all directions. As the army was focusing on drowning him or striking him down, his companions with their smaller boats were able to surround the iron cylinder, and once they were in position, King came out of the water with the tip of his staff standing solid on top of the turbulent waves, and using his tail and arms, King maintained his balance. Time, bro?
1 minute 30 seconds.
And so the waves around him died, and they lost some of his fluidity, and emanating from his staff and from the other ship was an icy coldness, and with the temperature almost zero, the ship's hardware had stopped working, and the iron cylinder descended below the ocean to escape the cold. However, a current of salty frozen brine followed it till it completely froze